this video is going to be a little bit different of what I would do for every type of video. Since I received my first ever Plarail sound train, I know that Plarail has recently made like a good chunk of these throughout their course of life. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go through and let you guys see most of the sound trains that I wrote. Not all, but most. Now, just a quick disclaimer, the drawings are going to be very bad, but the purpose for this is to show what sound trains Plarail have made and released. This will not be including any Thomas stuff inside. The ones I drew are the ones that I remembered for many, many years. The ones I think I remembered. It's the old style ones that Plarail have made a long time ago. So, let's begin. The first things I want to start off is with these commuter trains. I'm starting off with these because the designs of the coaches are exactly the same. Though it may have like a different color, it may have a different front and back, but the coaches are always going to be exactly the same. But there are going to be some different ones. We're going to be showing those later. So this is the first one I'm going to be starting off with. The Suburban Train E231. This one is the one with the orange and green stripe. And that switch is there for the sounds to turn on and off. Now there were going to be a few different switches you're going to be seeing. But that's a basic two-way switch. And I will always put a description here. Click-clack sounds with horn sound. You'll probably know what that sounds like. And next up is another E231 class, except this one runs the Subaru line, and they're always signatured with the yellow stripe on their trains. See, there's the switch, and click-clack sounds with horn sound. It's the same thing as that. And this one here is the Tokai Train 313. See, this one actually has a different front, but the coach is exactly the same. Here's the switch. Click-clack sound with horn sound. It's with those three. But this next up here is where they put in some different type of variety. This is the Special Rapid Service 223 class. See, there's some gray around the windows. It says click-clack sound with music tune. You'll probably know what that music tune probably sounds like. This last up from page 1 is the Commuter 321 class. See by its coach. You need to switch click-clack sound with music tune. Moving on to page 2. This one is the Joban line E501. This one is signatured by the green and white stripe. Here's a switch. It's fancy startup. Click-clack with horn sound. And it's actually going to be playing a different click-clack sound. It's not going to be the same. It's actually going to be a different one. And next up is the Special Rapid Service 225 class. Now, I kind of have messed up on this one because I soon realized that it's actually going to be having original coach design. It's actually not, it doesn't reuse the standard coach design as these. It's actually going to be in a different one. And I kind of have messed up the coloring. That's not the color it's going to be in. So yeah, the train design is wrong, but the description is right. Click-clack sounds with music tune. Like that. This next up is the Kenkyu 2100. Specifically, only the 2100. This version does not exist. This is basically just the same train, but you can have it in two different colors, either in red or in blue. Just whatever you pick. And there is that type of switch. It says here, fancy startup click-clack with electronic chime sound. It's actually very pleasing. This next up here is the Commuter 207 class. See by its coach design right there. Switch. click-clack sounds with music tune. Now coming up here is actually one that y'all probably didn't know Plarail made this version, but they did. The Yamanote line E231-500. And it actually uses these two coaches, the middle and the back. And it uses a permanent connector because it actually utilizes the functionalities of the middle coach, since it has the doors to be open and closed from these functions at the top. It actually uses that for the sounds here. You see, that is Japanese text. I decided to go and use it, and I'm not going to bother translating that. But you can see that this one actually has a three-way switch. And it's for the modes. Mode 1 is for having the sound for the talking parts played by a female voice, or Mode 2, a male voice. And see this description. It's talking, click-clack with horn sound, and the overlapping. That means is that the train will play a sound, like especially the click-clack sound. It's actually going to play that, and it's going to play another sound while the previous sound plays in the background. Yeah, that's what's called overlapping sounds. And this is how this train was first released. Yeah, sound variant came first. Moving on to page 3. And yes, I know that's a horrible drawing, but that is supposed to resemble the N700. Hopefully I draw the coach correctly, I hope. And here's a switch. It says there, electronic motor sounds, horn and talking, with the overlapping sounds. Okay, and coming up this one, this is another train. Most of y'all probably don't know that Plarail made a sound variant of this one, but they have. It is this. The E926 E-Style. Yep, Plarail made the sound variant of this one in particular. And this one actually uses the back coach rather than the middle. Because this was released in a set back in 2005. And just like the E231-500, the sound variant came first. And then it was sold separately with the sound effects removed. I forgot to tell you that when I was showing that train. See, this one here is the talking parts. It's electronic motor sounds, horn, and talking with overlapping sounds. Got one of those. And next up is the Shinkansen 700 RC train. Now, this one has permanent connectors on all the coaches, both front, middle, and end. And that's a switch right there at the top. Well, it's the functionality they had to do with the Steam Thomas, because they can't fit everything in one entire unit. So here's how they do. The front coach has the motor. The middle coach has the RC elements and the sounds. And the back coach is where the batteries go. I hope I got that correct. There's RC, phone, electric motor sounds, horn, and music tune. Yes, it's controlled by a phone that it actually comes with, which is remote controlled. And coming down here, this is something y'all are all familiar with. The Sound and Steam D51-200/498. Yes, that's how they call it in Japan, Sound and Steam, as well as the Steam Thomas. The number 200 is underlined because this is the one I drew, which is this model. The 498 model will actually have a different coach, ruby and blue, and the permanent connectors will be gray instead of white. And the switch is going to be on the bottom part of the coach. And it works the same way as the 700 class. The steam and sound effects are in the main locomotive, the motor is in the tender, and the coach carries the batteries. And the description there is chugging sounds with steam and whistle. Got one of those things. And going down here is actually the one I currently have which is, I have it right over here, which is the Sound C62 Double Impact. And yes, that's how the entire train was actually called back then, called the Double Impact, because it's supposed to connect to another one. And I did everything as I could from the other train. And there's the switch right there. It says chugging sounds with whistle. The speaker is going to be at the tender. Now on to page 4, which is the last one. This one right here is the Enodin Sound 1000 class. Now, I kind of have messed up on the coloring on this one because, see, this part here, I think it's a little bit too green or a little bit too yellow. Well, this is the same story with the Keichu 2100, where this one is available in 2 different colors. Well, this side here is actually for the old style one, and that's for the new style ones. You see, there's a switch, there's click-clack sound with horn sound. But unlike the commuter trains, the Enodin trains, the click-clack sound is going to be a bit slower, and the horn sound is going to be playing for like a split second. Though I do know that the pitch may vary with the train. So yeah, that's something you gotta know in mind. This next up here is a similar one called the Enodin 500 class. See, by its coach design, it's pretty much the same thing as that. This is click-clack sound with horn sound. And next up is another train. I don't think anyone knows this one exists, but I do. Which is this one right here. Now this one, see there, is the Thunderbird 681 card-based train. Yep, card-based. And he uses a permanent connector, so it takes advantage of both units. So this coach carries the motor. However, this entire coach is 4-wheel drive. All 4 wheels have traction tires. Well, this one's mainly just for the sounds. This one is mainly just only for the motor parts. There's the on-off switch, just at the bottom, which, if you actually flip the switch, you can actually hear gear going into place. And it has a 3-way switch at the top. Yeah, kind of like a 2-speed motor. But it has 3 modes. Mode 1 is free mode, which can be as a push-along. Mode 2 is auto mode, so it can go on its own. And Mode 3 is card mode. That's the card it goes with. Because it says here with descriptions, card, electric motor sound with music tune and talking. And it actually does have the overlapping sounds. Though I think the overlapping parts are only for the free and auto mode. I don't think it was ever programmed for the card mode. But with the card, this train relies on sensors. And at this part at the top, if you place the card at least a centimeter away from the train, from the top part, it's actually going to play some weird effects. It's going to do like some different type of commands. I think that's how it works. Well, okay, so moving on along is the Asima EF63 class. Now, I think I draw this coach a little bit too small. It's supposed to be a little bit longer than that, but that's supposed to be the front view of it. And it has that magnet supposed to connect to like another train. It's supposed to be doing that way. Diesel motor sound, click-clack with horn sound. Though the whistle, it sounds like a whistle, more like a horn. It actually really do sound like a whistle to me. And it has overlapping sounds. It's basically the connecting sounds. The sounds overlap when it's in the neutral mode. And last but not least, as of for now, which is this one here. The DD14 Snowblower train. That's kind of unusual. I know it kind of looks like a monster, but this is supposed to be the front view of the Snowblower. and that's the diesel part it goes with, which is that. Which is also made a motorized part of the same exact thing, but it's going to be like backwards. Yeah, that's that. It's a switch. Diesel motor sound, click-clack with horn sound. Though, just like that one, it sounds like a whistle for some odd reason. Now, before I end the video, I just want to quickly go over the ones that Plarail is probably still making. Plarail, as of now, they're still making this one, this one. Let's see. They're still making that one. They're still making that one. And that one. Those are the ones that Plarail is still making to this day. Though, I want to quickly know about the ones for the commuter trains. The commuter trains for the Suburban train, E231, and the Subaru one, the Tokai 313, and the one for the Special Rapid Service 225 class. When Plarail switched to the newer drive unit designs, the newer ones, they lowered the pitch on this one and these three when they were continued on. That's in the ones in the newer packaging. If you want to like the old ones that had like the regular pitch, it's mainly the ones that have the older packaging rather than the newer ones. Yeah, just something I would need for y'all guys to take note of if you want to buy those. Well, I think that's most of the sound trains that I remembered throughout all these years I remembered seeing. Well, thank you all for watching.